a lot of damage, but state and federal officials are ready.
This is the largest Florida National Guard search and rescue mobilization in the entire history of the state of Florida. We're facing this with the seriousness it deserves, but also with the determination that we will get through this.
Federal officials say more than 1,000 search and rescue personnel will be ready to help out as soon as the storm passes. It comes 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene hit the Gulf Coast, killing at least 225 people across 6 states. Of course, there are Canadians among those in the path of Hurricane Milton. And that means the federal government is closely monitoring the storm. Here's Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly.
To all Canadians that are registered with the embassy, every one of you should have received an email. And the message is clear, is please follow the U.S. authorities' evacuation orders. This is about making sure that your life is safe, that the life of your loved ones are safe. And for all of those who are thinking of going to Florida right now, wait, this is not the time.
According to the 2021 U.S. Census, there are more than 95,000 people living in Florida who were born in Canada. A 42-year-old Winnipeg man has been arrested and charged with human smuggling. Last month, Mounties from the Integrated Border Enforcement Team worked with the United States Border Patrol and learned people were crossing the border just east of Emerson on Road 18 East. Police went to the area and pulled over an SUV with several people and luggage inside. 6 passengers, 5 of whom were from Africa, were arrested and handed over to Canada Border Services. The driver was arrested and was scheduled to appear in court this week. A 25-year-old woman has been charged in connection to the death last March of a 56-year-old man in the 1200 block of Selkirk Avenue in Winnipeg. Edgar Allen Bear was from Peguis First Nation but had been living in the city. On Monday, General Patrol officers with the help of tactical support officers arrested Brianne Joan Broyer. She is charged with manslaughter and obstructing justice and is being held in custody. A 27-year-old man had already been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The leader of the Bloc Québécois is calling out the Senate for stalling his party's agenda in Parliament. Yves-François Blanchet wants supply management protected by law, but that bill is facing opposition in the upper chamber. Kate McKenna has more from Parliament Hill.
The Senate right now, which is a non-elected group of people and institution, is going against the will of all the parties.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet putting pressure on the Senate to pass a bloc bill that would stop Canadian trade negotiators from giving up any more concessions on Canada's highly protected dairy, egg and poultry sectors. He says it's being slowed down by senators who oppose the supply management bill.
For those who want this to happen, it is unacceptable. But it should be judged as absolutely unacceptable by anybody who believes in democracy.
The bill is one of 2 the Bloc says must become law by October 29th, or the Bloc says it'll work with other parties to try to topple the government. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
To Lebanon now. That's the sound of Lebanese rescue workers and residents searching for survivors. Officials say in the past day, at least 22 people were killed in attacks across the country. Dozens more were injured. Israel says it hit nearly 200 Hezbollah targets within that time. Its military also says an Israeli commander was killed while fighting against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah also continues to fire missiles into Israel. That's the sound of medics bringing patients into hospital following a missile barrage in northern Israel. Israel says most rockets were intercepted. 6 people were injured in that attack. And this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to 3 scientists for their work on proteins. American David Baker is being honored for mastering the structure of proteins, considered the building blocks of all life.
What we have done with protein design is discover how to make new proteins that can solve new problems. And so what my colleagues and I have been working on is to design new proteins that would be improved medicines, improved vaccines.
Another American, John Jumper, and British citizen Demi Essebis were recognized for using artificial intelligence to predict the structure of almost all known proteins. Essebis is founder and CEO of AI pioneer DeepMind, which is now part of Google. The Nobel Prize for Peace will be announced on Friday. And that is your CBC News from Winnipeg. In Winnipeg, a high of 22 today and sunny. Brandon, sunshine with a high of 24. Dauphin, sunny, a high of 23. Flin Flon, a high of 18 and mainly sunny. Thompson, mainly sunny, a high of 14. And in Churchill, mainly cloudy today and windy at times. High around plus 5 degrees.
Magandang hapon. Good afternoon, Manitoba. Faith Fundal here in Studio 15 at Portage and Spence. This is Radio Noon on CBC Radio 1, 89.3 FM in Winnipeg, 97.9 FM in Brandon, in Thompson, 100.9 FM, and in Dauphin, 105.3 FM. I'm sitting in for Janet Stewart. On the program today, where have all the birds gone? We're going to hear from a southeastern Manitoba photographer who is seeing fewer of his favorite birds this year. Stay tuned for that conversation in this half hour. And on our daily call-in segment, have you ever met a rock star, a country legend, maybe a heavy metal heavyweight? On our call-in conversation, we're asking you, what famous musicians have you met and how did that meeting go? You can call us 204-780-0893 or text us 204-588-7355 204-588-7355 and we'd love to have you join on the conversation that's coming up after your 12:30 local news. I guess we're going to talk about the weather here today because as you heard Matt describe, it is sunny and 18 degrees here in downtown Winnipeg. Gusts from the south at 48 kilometers an hour. Brandon this hour mainly sunny and 18 degrees sunny and 18 in Dauphin. Partly cloudy and 10 in Thompson at the airport there. And get the snow pellets falling at the airport in Churchill. 2 degrees is the current temperature. We'll give you a full look at your forecast still to come. We're at 8 minutes after 12 o'clock here on CBC Radio 1. The only childcare option for parents living in the rural municipality of North Norfolk is a home daycare. That's expensive and the wait lists are long. Norfolk is located between Portage La Prairie and Carberry. So parents in the RM have tackled the problem themselves and set up a family-led board. They're working to create a 30-spot facility in Austin. North Norfolk Childcare Centre board member Jessica Dirksen has 20-month-old twins. The CBC's Chelsea Kemp first asked what it's been like to get childcare.
Impossible. So the closest daycare would be Portage, and if I didn't put my name in the daycare registry when I was pregnant, there's a very low chance of getting them in. So there's nothing there. There's no openings in home daycares, especially with two of them at the same age. So we have nothing.
So what do you do right now?
Currently, they go to my sisters on one day and my mom on another day, and then I work from home 3 days a week with them just so I'm able to continue working.
Did you work from home before you had your boys?
Partially, but not as much as I do now. I had to change it to work from home more just so I could stay home and work with them.
When you say change it, did you have to get a new job or did you just change your job?
I was lucky enough to continue at my current job. They're a phenomenal place to work for and super understanding, so that was really appreciative. I don't know what I would have done if I worked anywhere else, though.
Did you ever do a budget looking at what it would have been like to put them in childcare?
If we went into home daycare where there's no subsidization, there's no way we could afford it. It would be over $14,000 to have two of them in daycare at the same age.
And so when did you join the board to kind of help get a daycare built here in Austin?
I think the boys were 6 months old. I started talking to Nicole more about it, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. We need to get on the ball with this and get some childcare going. Like, there needs to be more spots open for our communities.
What's been the most eye-opening part for you?
The amount of spots needed. I didn't realize how many parents left their jobs just to stay home to work or to look after their kids.
Did you ever expect that I know kids are always life-changing, but did you expect it to change in the way it has just because it's so centered around childcare?
No. Like, our jobs have always been our main focus, and now with the kids in play, we've had to really think about it. My husband ended up changing his job just so he could stay at home more. It's been, life-changing.
Jessica Dirksen lives in McGregor and has 20-month-old twin boys. Nicole Blythe is a board member on the North Norfolk Childcare Centre and explained why she stepped up to start the centre.
There currently is no registered daycare within the municipality of North Norfolk. So the struggle for parents is quite large. There is private home daycares, but there is not enough spots for all the kids in the municipality. We did a survey in 2021, and there was over 100 kids that needed spots of all different types, full-time, part-time, casual, before and after school. So there is a huge need within the municipality.
Can you get $10 a day daycare here?
We cannot, because we do not have any registered facilities. So we are paying about $30 a day.
How much do you think you've spent on childcare in a year?
With full-time spots, I spend about $7,000 a year.
It's kind of affected your family planning too. Can you tell me about that?
Definitely. So we actually have waited to have our children so that we didn't have to have 2 children in daycare at once, because it's just not feasible for our family and financially.
How old are your kids now?
So one is turning 6 and the other one will be a year.
Will either of them ever get to stay at the daycare here once it's developed?
Probably not. We are honestly, all of our board members are doing this for the future children of the municipality. We've all kind of agreed that this isn't for our kids, it's for the future kids.
What does it take to kind of get renovations rolling? Do you have any designs yet?
We have started designs with architects at play. We are also working with the Manitoba Early Learning and Childcare Center, and they are helping us meet all of the recommendations and requirements in order to do the facility. So you have to have engineered drawings, which are quite expensive, and then you're able to apply for the grant through Manitoba Early Learning and Childcare. And then there's a cost split of 60% covered by the government and 40% that will be covered by us ourselves. So we will be getting a mortgage to cover that.
How much do you think you have to raise even to just get designs finished?
I would say just designs, probably like $80,000. And then once to renovate and everything, we're probably looking at almost $300,000.
How do you go about that? Like, this is not a big community.
It's not. So we try little fundraisers within our community. We are hosting a soup and pie here on October 27th. And then we also actually do a food booth at Manitoba Threshermen's Reunion in order to try and bring some outside money into our fundraising pot. We also apply for grants and anything else possible. We got a technology grant in order to do, some of our phone lines and our computers and like stuff like that. So that's really great. But again, a lot of these funds do need to come from within our municipality, which is a struggle because our target market is financially strained families.
How are you all finding the time to kind of organize this? You said there's 8 board members, right? Are you all parents too?
We are all parents, yes. So sometimes our board meetings include children, which is totally fine. We've all said that life happens and we need to work around it. And it takes a lot of effort. We've been working on this for, 4 years now. So it's a lot of effort, a lot of fundraising, and a lot of background work and working through like red tape, right? And trying to make sure that we're checking all those boxes. We're all very community-minded individuals, and I think that's what drives us, is that we know the struggle firsthand. So if we can assist the future parents of our municipality, let's get it done, right? Because somebody has to start, and we have to start somewhere.
That is Nicole Blythe, a North Norfolk Child Care Centre board member. Jody Kale is Executive Director of the Manitoba Child Care Association.
The challenges that we see in urban Manitoba are simply far dramatically increased in rural Manitoba. So the challenges of workforce, the challenges of accessibility tend to be far more significant in the outliers of the province.
Well, and are you seeing this happen in other communities where it's parents, fed up parents who are like, we will just make our own daycare?
Yeah, historically this has happened for early learning and childcare. It's been on the backs of volunteers, on the backs of parents, rallying together in a community to say, we see an identified need of early learning and childcare, so we're going to do this, right? And it's unfortunate because parents, as we know, are very busy people, may or may not have the skills and expertise to develop a child care program. I know that the province has made a commitment of $23,000,
while a community group has donated a building. In all, the board needs to raise about $480,000 to pay for the design and renovations. You can read more about this story on our website. That's at cbc.ca/Manitoba.
Hi, I'm Saroja Coelho, host of the Saturday afternoon call-in show Just Asking, now expanding to 2 hours.
And I'm Ian Hanamansing, host of the Sunday afternoon call-in show Cross Country Checkup.
Whether it's world events
or what's happening in your backyard,
every weekend we connect Canada live.
That's Just Asking with Saroja Coelho, Saturday afternoons at 4 Eastern.
And Cross Country Checkup with Ian Hanamansing, Sunday afternoons at 4 Eastern.